A shower, then a walk, then a shower. Down the hill and up, then a shower. Down for cigarettes and coffee, then a shower. At the hour of 6:30 an address. A talk? Am I back in the schoolroom? Is it time for another shower? No. Ideas circulate the dripping heat. Air-conditioning concepts take off, up and down the steps, head inside the chapel bell, pissing on mosquitoes, sprinting past the nuns, water in your lungs, thoughts between your toes. Kierkegaard and Freud sanding and scraping and painting wheelbarrows. Like a hand car wash they wait in line. They leave branded orange. Tete-a-tete or EasyJet. Grub up in a garden, one misplaced Croatian painter, too much wine, three's a crowd. 4 and 5 in the morning, then don, do, dee, do, die, dix. The bell's back on. Shower, steps, Osmond's coffee, and a toast. Nodding off, nose in book. Born as I was, the citizen of a free state and a member of his sovereign, nod. Born as I was. The shop's open. Fags, 25 Largo, the odd bit of fruit, no newspapers. There are no newspapers, and water. Water, she gave me water. Fuck, it's hot. Off up the hill in the midday sun to find north. Shit, this is hot. Shit, this is hot. Shit, hot, this is not. An isolated gable-end window-ledge shadow is all that stops drowning in your own sweat. This is north. No, this is north. Which is north? Ask the cat with worms, I'm too dizzy. Staggering through beautiful wild grassland, dangerous white patches invade the vision. A billion butterflies flip and wibble in hedgerow heaven. I am crying blinding tears of salt sweat. The end is near, my friend, the end is near. A cemetery bleaches into view. The path splits. One is home, shower, then a shower, a sleep, a shower, and a read, nod. The other, a short trip for a dip in the sea, cooling and caring and kindness itself. The sea. The sea, walk through vineyards. The sea, walk around vineyards. The sea, walk. Oh fuck, it's hot. Walk. Look, snake tracks. Walk. Clouds of dust. Walk. Stop. Look, way down that dangerous descent. The sea. The sea is pure and bluer than the bluest blue your beautiful blue eyes have ever seen. But the sea has rocks of angry razor teeth to slash your skin. The sea will not let you in. It's either ascend the descend again or round the coast. The village must be round the next ridge. Walk, stagger, balance, totter, trip, stagger, balance, totter, trip, stagger, balance, totter, trip over rocks. The factor 400 sunblock applied earlier in the day is sprouting holes. Red nose, red cheeks, red neck, and blistered hands stroke sunstroked skin. The last of the plastic bottles harbours stagnant, tepid frog spit. Fuck, it's hot, it's really hot. The village is not round the first corner, the second, third, fourth, or fifth. Slowly, but with increasing density, a welcoming party of blistered bodies herald civilization. A ruddy, hairy arse from Austria winks a sphincter of support in crispy bacon. A burnt umber family barbecue tits, fannies, cocks and arses, New Jersey style. But a stagger, balance, totter, trip over beach body is the village, and a coke, and another, with ice. Then for a sleep and a shower. But first, those fucking steps. Diogenes is on the 6:30 menu tonight, served on a bed of healthy discussion. Is this a group dynamic beginning to form? Is the magic of the island beginning to work? Perhaps the Shit Shack Gallery in Hoxton and Gilt Frame Signatory of Cork Street are behind us. But wait, some words. Show, gallery, press, public, opening, deadline. Flicking mental pages of extended platforms, no plan, just the time and place. what about all these new tracks and paths to share and explore that crisscross one another? This is single-track railroading and certainly no escape from the margins of studio and city. The dinner goes down in more worried lumpful forms. The mosquitoes are making themselves more visible by handing out more lumps, and there's a sense of enemy guns rumbling just over the horizon. The absence in Susakian of this word art is a gift. It's becoming increasingly clear not all here would agree with this statement. For my piece, I'm going to make a piece that will, my piece, your piece, his piece and her piece. A piece of shit. Off the island tomorrow. Malé-Losange is only 40 minutes from Susak on the anti-clockwise route of the Jadrolina. Sitting up on deck, air is plentiful. Like a lost friend returning, it tickles cheeks and eyebrows. Most of the people on board seem like old friends by now. They all live and work in Susak. We have all spotted each other countless times on the island in the past 3 days. Nose in book, I am determined to read a passage before dozing off. Born as I was a citizen of a free state and a member of its sovereign body, the very right to vote imposes on me the duty to instruct myself in public affairs. Harbourside is buzzing when we tie up. Cafes and bars are baited with canopies of shadow. Hooked immediately, I sit and order a coffee and a croissant. A drink opens my eyes. The pastry opens on first bite and spurts sickly yellow custard. It's all too sweet. I order an espresso and plan the next 5 hours of shore leave. Things to get, then read. In a hardware store I hear Croatian morph into broad New Jersey English. It beats Americans shouting, "Champagne, goddammit, champagne!" at Parisian waiters. I fancy I spot a sausage roll in a baker's window. Aha! No more of that custard and chocolate shite. I point, grunt, look vague, and somehow order it. It's warm chocolate and nut mush, I discover later. A large blonde lady newsagent with a swollen chin and a scrunched up paper tissue pressed to it charges 1,000,000,000 kunas or something for a collection of Croatia's daily newspapers. This extortion is temporarily undetected. Too relieved am I at having communicated my order. Sitting quayside at a bar come bookies, I prepare to read at a small table loaded with espresso, water, cigarettes, ashtray, notebook, glasses case, matches and lighter. Fuck, it's hot. How many times can you read the same line over and over again and then wake up? Under a bad government, this equality is only an appearance and an illusion. It serves only... How many times can you read the same line over and over again and then wake up? A pattern is established. I read from the top of the page, nod off, wake up. Start again from the top, nod off, wake up. Promise myself to get to the end of the page, start again, nod off, wake up. The land is heating up. This bastard sun is finding elaborate ways to come and get me. What was once a cool dark shadow of shade has been eaten away into a pallid flickering strip. The harbour feels like it's on the end of a pizza paddle that's gradually being shoved into the oven. How many times can you read the same line over and over again and then wake up? Back on the boat, the reviving breeze is welcome like wafts from a seconds towel on a boxer. My camera card is full of Susak shadows. Flicking through the familiar dark images, I realise how fond of the shapes I am. They come with the sun and they leave with it every day. They snuggle against doorways and windows and lie under tractors and barrels. They prop against gables and hang over alleyways. All this while providing shelter for man and beast. This generous and essential service leads me to reappraise some old saying about being kept in the dark. This sunlight brings darkness, seeking shelter in shadow that allows illumination, dodging between zones of sanity, all around consumption, naked, burnt, insane, mopping up all resistance. This heat will not allow me to think. At Susak Harbour there's an unruly pile of paper, a ream of 500 A4 sheets stuck together end to end. On being constructed it has been notated and scrawled upon. It contains its own history. An attempt to lay it lengthwise on the road ended up in it catching a breeze and flying off. Perhaps tomorrow will be calmer and better for laying it out. But then something strange. It's getting dark. The atmosphere is suddenly dead, not a puff of air. Perhaps the moment is now. In no time at all, the line is laid out. From the harbour to Osmond's, a new pathway is opened up. Children balance along its length, tractors and wheelbarrows crisscross, and dogs bark at it. As quickly as it appeared, it is rolled up again. Seconds later, the rain comes. Sitting under cover, beer in hand, soft smiles recognise the sharing of a very special moment. St Joe Melvin's last talk tonight. Her presentations have offered us a crucial focus and context. They have been open and questioning without trying to conclude in order to leave a tidy package. This flies in the face of other pressures that appear to be demanding results that will give Croatian TV a story and the locals a typecast role of smirking and scratching their heads. Artists. Someone said, if we fall into that trap, we will be letting ourselves and the locals down. I think that is the case. Fuck, it's hot. The rain had stopped. It's beach barbecue night tonight, and not the arse tits fanny kind. Downing the beer, I struggle out of the chair and begin the lengthy trek to the beach. I'm going to be late, and I don't want to miss the last presentation. I pick up a painful pace. The beach was deserted. The rain must have changed the plans. I'm exhausted. I feel like shit. Jo never did her presentation. The last group of people had just arrived from the UK when I finally got back up those steps. They must have been trying to weigh up what the hell they had walked into. A beach party, a monster truck fest, or the Royal Academy's summer show. I ate little, drank nothing. It was time to use the most expensive newspapers in Croatia. With the help of friends, a template was made of the room where our discussions had taken place. I had brought another template to Croatia from the Torriano meeting room in Kentish Town. This was unfurled later in the week at Osmond's and then at the harbour. It remains in Susak. I had thought it would be interesting to move this new template around the island. The beach, a vineyard, on the steps, up a slope, at the harbour, on a boat. There we could continue to meet, visible and audible. 32 artists in conversation and action. Naked, without sunblock or an all-over tan to hide behind. A piece, a posing pouch piece. I got drunk that night. Talked until daylight. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Oh, my head. My red wine head. Shower, steps, Osmond's, coffee. And a toast, and another coffee, and another. Fuck, it's hot. This afternoon we will attempt to draw with an old wheelbarrow. That's not the drink talking. It was agreed last night, admittedly through a drunken haze. We will knock a hole in the old barrow we found and fill it with a sand soil water pigment mix. As the third hangover coffee is ordered, disturbing edits of last night's conversation filter through. CV, portfolio, correct documentation, name, size and medium, contact details, artist, statement, CV. I was shocked at such blatant conformism in one so young on this experiment island. You say Susak Expo will become a platform enabling all the different elements to combine. I say fine, why not also invite the Pope, a murderer, a military general, a prostitute? Not just lame artists poring over limp sketchbooks and their deadly dull pieces, myself included. An irritating situation was developing, aggressively boxing some people in, myself included. It lay somewhere between the openness feeding the opportunity for something very special to happen and the variety of pressing obligations dragging everyone towards a very dull and formalised exhibition. Now, if anyone tries to claim that that was the chance polemic set up to determine Susak Expo, I would tell them that they were being a little ingenuous with me, and perhaps worse, with themselves. A lot of shrewd and intelligent people had come to Susak in good faith. I'd like to include myself in this. I came to learn and share ideas with others, and in doing so perhaps learn a little more about myself. I did not come to be another piece in some undirected, stage-managed romp. I'm serious about this. Very serious. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Fuck, it's hot. I'm off to find a healthy, dark, fat shadow to read under. Under a bad government, this equality is only an appearance and an illusion. It serves only to keep the poor in their wretchedness and sustain the rich in their usurpation. In truth, laws are always useful to those with possessions and harmful to those who have nothing, from which it follows that the social state is advantageous to men only when all possess something and none has too much. The wheelbarrow drawing was a technical disaster, but in every other way very funny. It was filmed. The flopping speeding tyre is reminiscent of the chariot scene in Ben-Hur. We meet as usual at 6:30 p.m. in the upper room, with a newspaper template on the floor and without Joe. Whose piece is this? Is it staying? I attempt an explanation, but where do you start? We don't seem to have even clarified a context for us all to be in the same room together. What's more, is this a room to meet in, or is it a gallery, as some are now calling it? And what is more, the newspapers taped together on the fucking floor are not a fucking piece. A rather limp attempt is made at filling in the new arrivals with the Expo's progress. This is then countered by a set of rules and regulations of military issue, advising us all on how we must engage with the press as professional soldiers. There's unrest in the ranks. It is agreed that our energies may be better spent speaking to each other first. Who knows, maybe then we could produce something a bit more challenging, both for ourselves and the islanders. The air is cleared a little. A fresh start? We shall assemble here at dawn. Well, 10 a.m. Someone points out that a troop ship of DJs are heading towards the island this evening to entertain us. An open-air Susak Fest. Drugs and sex and double decks in a vineyard. In that case, tomorrow morning's 10 a.m. gathering is perhaps a touch optimistic. Not at all, not at all. The citizens of the new Republic of Susak will gladly crawl out of their pits for an early morning chat. With that we part. Some assemble to dance themselves dizzy, others go to bed. Myself included. 6 o'clock reveille is struck on the chapel bell. All around you sense the sound of artists going to bed. A glorious morning sky idealistically beams. But is that the dull murmur of cannons in the distance? Outside I pass a miserable-looking nun. Her "I told you so" glance is directed straight at me. What? On the steps, the fattest, wormless black cat is sitting with a wriggling gecko clamped in its mouth. Apart from these three, the place is deserted. I must deviate a little here, for I have just realised my recollections have somehow missed a day. The morning I have just been talking about is the Saturday of the Expo event weekend. That was the day that the Croatian press arrived, and in my view any chance of development ended. The day my chronological recounting has missed contained one event I feel I must document. The re and deconstruction of the template that had covered the upper floor where we all met. In some disturbingly frenzied territorial dispute I chose not to witness until the deed was done, the original whole was hacked up into a pathetically sad little island that lay to the right of the stairs. It would seem that unimpaired space was required to view the pieces of art. This act of segregation, although nothing to me in material terms, spoke volumes about the serious lack of dialogue between those participating as to what the expo was or could be. Had we really all just come here to hang our shabby little art trinkets in a cynical CV building exercise? And was it also being claimed that the situation where some had come with those intentions and some had not was an intriguing polemic that would make the expo a unique event? Bollocks! Count me out. Fuck, it's hot. There is no gainsaying that Adam was the king of the world, as was Robinson Crusoe on his island, precisely because he was the sole inhabitant. And the great advantage of such an empire was that the monarch, secure upon his throne, had no occasion to fear rebellions, war, or conspirators. 7 people turned up that morning. I was late after hobbling back up those fucking steps. For some, it was the last straw. The only thing left for them was to abstain by defiantly spending their last day on the beach enjoying themselves. A few of us waffled on, as a number of latecomers tripped up the stairs. By 10:45 a.m, it was all over. The new Republic of Susak had collapsed on its first morning. Artists. The rest is a mishmash of unconnected events, some good, some not so good. There were times when I began to quake at the feeling of being in some kind of Duran Duran or Jamiroquai beach party video. But then the unforgettable experience of a group of us going for a midnight swim under a clear starry sky in the warm sea was out of this world. Maybe it's me, perhaps I just cannot mix work and pleasure. But I have to say, hand on heart, I fucking hate summer beach holidays. Body fascism and burning skin make death a more attractive option to me. The third floor suicide plunge of a watermelon onto the pavement below was an intense moment. However, my spirits sank at the slideshow that was constructed and shown in the upper room. Nothing against the images, but I did feel it rang hollow and had an air of the Arts Council when they desperately cobbled together evidence to secure another year's funding for some dodgy community arts event that they have not taken seriously at source. The thing was, we had nothing to lose or prove, and that was the beauty of the expo. With that came a truly exciting challenge, a challenge I have to say we did not measure up to, and no slideshow will convince me otherwise. The informal discussion that a small group of us had around the work and ideas that had come from being on Susak was the closest it got for me as to what the expo was. It did not take much effort to organise, but to see what fellow exposees were thinking, making and finding out seemed to be more of a fruitful and generous activity than the precious polishing and window dressing going on in preparation for the arrival of the Croatian press and TV. On the penultimate morning I borrowed a spade and went down to the beach and, using the shape of the reconfigured template, dug an island while the tide was out. A folly to the artist's farty little need for attention, perhaps. The wheelbarrow parade looked great, and due to Daniel's close relationship with the island and the locals, should have possibly been the Susak Expo itself. Had that been the case, it would have been less confusing for everyone taking part to know, before they agreed to participate, that they would be expected to do no more than paint someone else's wheelbarrow, and the rest of the time would have been their own. To swim, shag, sunbathe, sketch, drink, draw, wank, walk, talk, think, or read. But then, that would have been Daniel's show. On Joe Melvin's last evening, someone had commented that it would be a sad state of affairs if we could not sustain a group dialogue without Joe being there to hold our hands. After all, she had begun the dialogue and together we had started to develop the conversation. It was sad that the moment she left, the will was not there to explore and enact an evolving conversation. A schools out atmosphere set in, allowing everyone to do exactly what they would do at home, only this time with a lot more sun and sand and toilets that didn't flush. Susak did offer a huge potential for us all to step outside the narrow margins of the studio and city, and that's what makes the pedestrian response that resulted hugely disappointing for me. At sunrise, as I made my last trip down to Osmond's before boarding the catamaran for Rijeka, I snapped a photo of what was left of the island I had cut into the beach the morning before. It was very satisfying to see nature doing what it does best to man's solitary monuments. The newspaper template, whose shape and dimensions were determined by ignorance, indifference and territorial greed, was packed away in my case and sits on top of the plan chest in the room where I am typing this now. Have I come to this island to create an island? On an island, separated and isolated, land, a little land, floating and unconnected. I came to this island and left with an island in my bag.